The following program contains content that is not suitable for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
Live from the Community Media Center of Marin, it's marINSANITY.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and people here from marINSANITY. We have a very, very special show for you here tonight. Some of you may know the community suffered a really, really bad tragedy not too long ago. We lost Griffin Daley earlier this year. He was a dear friend of mine and a colleague of mine and a dear friend and colleague of many others in the community here at Marin TV and our amazing lineup of comedians tonight as well. My very first production here was working at marINSANITY, and I met Griffin in the fall of 2016, and that cheeky bloke was the funniest and coolest guy I ever met, and he became a dear friend of mine, and we're going to miss him dearly. But the good news is this will be the least unhilarious part of the night. It's going to get a lot funnier from here. And without further ado, I wanted to introduce my dear friend, Sue Alfieri, who's going to be the host. Let's give her a round of applause.
All right. I'm so excited to be here and to take over the marINSANITY show from Griffin. I've been here a couple times as Griffin's one of the people on the showcase, and Griffin was a dear friend of mine, and I've done a lot of shows with him. Griffin was not afraid to push the envelope and have shows at kind of interesting places. Like, we did it at a Chinese restaurant where people weren't even expecting comedy. They're just like eating their lo mein, and then all of a sudden we're trying to tell jokes. It was. We also did it at a. I'm talking about jokes, not anything else. We also did it at a Thai food restaurant, and then also Griffin hosted a show on the sidewalk in San Rafael in front of his antique shop. Apparently, the next door neighbors were a little ticked off, so they were trying to turn the music up in their store to try to kick all the comedians off the sidewalk. So he didn't care. He definitely didn't care. But I care about him, and I'm happy to be here tonight and to be taking this show over. So without further ado, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Christmas time, because Christmas is coming up, guys. And, you know, really, the holidays are a time for love and joy and crippling debt, if we're being honest. I mean, I feel like I have to buy gifts for the mailman, the trash guy, the bug sprayer guy, his love child. I mean, and then if you live in Marin, you have to pay for your yoga teacher, your Botox lady, your couples therapist, your gardener, the woman that sells artisanal bread out of her garage. It's so crazy. I mean, like, I'm not Santa Claus. I'm a comedian. And the crazy thing is also that it seems like as it gets closer to Christmas, these people that you have to buy gifts for get nicer and nicer. Like the mailman, who's normally so grumpy, is now carrying dog treats and rubbing my dog's belly, wearing pants. He's stopped reading my mail, stopped using the N-word. So now he's looking for... And then the trash guy, who usually just like throws my cans, is like placing them neatly next to the... I mean, they're looking... This is like greased palm season, if we're being... And then, do we have any parents here tonight? Yeah. If you have kids, then you're buying for the teachers and the aftercare people and all the people that pretend to like your kids, basically. But then it's like there are people at school, like some moms, that don't want to pay for all these individual gifts. And so they're like, oh, I'll just bring a baked ziti to school. Like... Honestly, the librarian who's underpaid doesn't want to, she doesn't want to bake ziti. That's not going to make up for the fact that your kid is like out of control, hyperactive, hyped up on sugar. What she wants is for your kid not to come to school, but also like an all-inclusive vacation or cold hard cash, really, is what we're talking about. But speaking of kids, my kids like to give me handmade gifts. And if I'm being honest, the only handmade gift that I want is like by a kid in Nanjing, China, working for 2 cents a day. Like get me an H&M shirt. That's fine. That's fine with me. I don't need a macaroni necklace. I don't need a coupon for free hugs. Like get a job, go mow a lawn, walk a dog, something like that. But I'm not great at buying gifts, I'll be honest. When people see me with a gift, they know what to expect. A disappointment, pretty much. But you know who I'm really good at buying gifts for is my mom. I get her stuff that I could use, basically, because she's in her 80s. So I'm gonna get this stuff back in a few years anyway. Like the last Christmas, she was like, "Ugh, another Patagonia jacket? I live in Florida. What are you doing?" And I was like, "Mom, suck it up. Put it next to the Jimmy Choos and the crop tops, okay?" All right, guys, I am going to stop there, and I'm going to bring you guys some really amazing comics tonight. We have the best of the best, and all of these comics have a special relationship with Griffin. Nothing too, his wife is here, so, but we're happy to bring you this comedy show tonight in memoriam of Griffin. And in between each comic tonight, I'm going to read a little something that some of his friends posted about him on Facebook, little sentiments that made me kind of laugh that are quintessential Griffin. So stay tuned for that. Okay, your next comic, I'm really excited to bring to the stage. He's been on America's Got Talent. He's hilarious, and he's really tall. Please give it up big and loud for Mr. Oliver Graves.
Hi. So I guess I'm supposed to address the elephant in the room. And I'm not sure which one it is. There's a lot going on here, right? Yeah. So let's start getting to it. Yes, I look different. I have a very different look and appearance. And there's a lot of questions and comments when you go out like this. Am I goth? Am I emo? People like to be cute. They like to go, "Hey, Oliver, how many people have you killed?" I know, I get it. I look like someone that has OCD and keeps track of that kind of thing. People always like to mention Halloween, like, "Oh, is it Halloween already? It wasn't Halloween last month." Like, okay, cool, yes, thank you. I'm a big Halloween fan, that's true. Actually, when I was a kid and I would go trick-or-treating, I had a friend. He would go trick-or-treating with me. He wasn't allowed to keep any of the candy. His parents made him throw it away. And I was like, I'll throw it away for you. You don't have to, because his parents didn't trust, people that are giving out candy. And I thought, I don't want to live in a world like that, where kids can't go door to door and be exposed to drugs and poison and razor blades. Like, that should just be handed out to them. What's the worst thing that's going to happen if they bite into a razor blade? They're not going to be able to eat solid food for a month. Going to lose some weight. Like, it's okay. That's fine. People ask me about my makeup all the time. Like, who does your makeup? It doesn't look very good. Like, I do my own makeup. Thank you. Yeah, I know it doesn't look that good. Do you know how hard it is to do your own makeup when you have no reflection? Also, as you've heard, I was on America's Got Talent. That's another thing people ask me about all the time. And I am not Tapeface. A lot of people get us confused. I am the one that talks. Tapeface is the one with tape across his face. We're two different people. And I signed all these contracts when I was on that show, like big, thick contracts. So I'm really not allowed to talk about it. They say, in perpetuity in all known dimensions. So if you give me in an unknown dimension, think that's a loophole for the lawyers. But I can say yes, I did get to meet Simon Cowell, and he claims to be 5'9", which if that's true, I am 7'3". He's a little. Another thing I get asked about a lot is my height. I am very tall. And people ask me how tall I am, and I am actually 6'6". One thing I don't get asked a lot as a tall person is I don't get asked if I play basketball. I guess they can kind of tell. And they already know the answer to that one. I was on a date once before, and she was like asking me, I'm like, "What are your favorite sports teams?" Really? Like, how do I do this more? Like, how much more? I mean, I like the Warriors, like in Dungeons and Dragons, but not on the basketball field. So I tried to think of a joke about Princess Diana. Maybe not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. It's okay, I couldn't think of a punchline. I couldn't think of one. I just stood there staring blankly. Just like the paparazzi. Can you imagine they wouldn't let me do that joke in front of 2 British judges on America's Got Talent? I was actually doing that joke one time at a bar downtown Somerville on one of Griffin's shows. And in the middle of the joke, I realized maybe I shouldn't be doing that joke right now in front of Griffin, who is British. But it got really a little awkward. All the awkwardness where I was like, oh, maybe. And he was always so graceful, always so kind. He never said anything like, don't do that, maybe not. Very, very supportive. So I just remember that moment of him walking towards me thinking, oh no, is he going to tell me to not do that? And he just was laughing and like, no. And it was fine. And I just wanted to share that. Even though it's not that great of a joke, but that moment lives on with me more than that joke ever will. So I'm very thin. We noticed that. I have to wear bright colors to be seen. If I wear all black, I just disappear. I'm not gothic. I'm goth thin. Go through medical stuff. I'm working on gaining weight. Trying to eat more. Problem is, if I go to buffets all the time, people are going to call me Edward Sizzler Hands. I had to get a colonoscopy recently. That was not fun. Yeah, I don't have health insurance, so I couldn't afford the camera. I was like, that doctor, I was like, wow, you were eyeballing this so well. Like, you were just so much better than I was at home with my phone, just trying to. Who's your optometrist? Like, he could see everything. Trying to get into some kind of shape. That would be nice. Trying to work out. When I get into like lifting. I wish I was one of those guys that was in such good shape that I could just like walk right up to a woman and like carry a conversation. I am very awkward socially. I hope that's obvious. I try to use humor to cover up my social awkwardness. I just wish I could use humor to cover up my BO. But I have gotten into bright colors lately. I want to have a splash of color. The red and black, it's very identifying for me. I like to think I'm like a tree frog. Just letting you all know that I'm very, very toxic. Just letting the mama birds out there know you cannot kill me and bring me back to your nest to feed your baby birds. Like, that's not cool. Don't bring me near baby. What I'm saying is I don't date single moms. It's a long-winded way of explaining that. So I wanted to share another story about Griffin, and because I was thinking and talking with people about his comedy style and how there's some jokes out there that they're universal, and the idea that you could give that joke to someone else and then they could walk out and probably tell it fairly effectively. It'd be the same kind of joke. Like how a lot of the jokes I try to write, I don't think other people could do goth weirdo jokes. So in the same way, Griffin found a voice mostly of just who he was. But he found other areas he could go that I always thought was interesting because no other comic could do those jokes. And he had one he didn't always do. But being, an older British man, it just sounded so interesting coming from his voice. And I'm not going to be able to do the joke justice, but I still want to kind of share the premise and the frame of it. But Griffin would talk about being with his old ex-wife and how they used to be swingers back in the day, and they had kids. And his wife said, why don't we try to guess which one of the kids was yours? And Griffin, would chime in like, oh, I know. It's the daughter, that's my daughter. His wife would go, no. It was the abortion. And it has to be one of my favorite jokes that he ever told. I really, because the one thing about this, I don't think anyone else could tell that joke. I don't think it would work. It worked so well coming from him. And we'll miss him. We'll miss Griffin. And I've been Oliver Graves. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. All right, keep it going for Oliver, everyone. Awesome. I love the last joke at the end. That's true. That's definitely Griffin. I'm going to read one of the things I said that on Facebook from his son. I thought this was Steve. I thought this was really true as well. He was one of those guys that didn't care whether you liked him or not, and he would tell you straight up if he didn't like you. I love that. Okay, your next comic coming to the stage is a Bay Area favorite. I've performed with her lots of times. She's hilarious and edgy, and I just love her. Give it up nice and loud for Sarah Kahari. Sorry.
How you guys doing tonight? Good? Good? Keep it going for your host. Give it up for Sue. She's doing a great job. This is usually where I just kind of jump right into it and introduce the fact I'm a lesbian, but today I kind of saved that step by wearing the full uniform instead. I'm wearing 2 pieces of denim Carhartt pants, keys on the front, bandana. I dress like the train conductor of the little engine that could find the clitoris. I'm what's called a gold star lesbian. I assume I have to brush you guys up on terminology. You guys know what that is? Gold star lesbian is a woman that's never had sex with a dude before. Think of it like earning a gold star for perfect pussy attendance. But I was set up for success pretty well figuring all that out young, which is I guess a roundabout way of telling you guys I went to Catholic boarding school as a child. True story. Which I always thought was a really interesting choice from my parents, right? Because sending your presumably lesbian daughter to Catholic boarding school expecting to fix that problem is like finding drugs in your kid's backpack and sending him to Burning Man to fix that problem. You'll introduce the kid to God, just not the one you wanted. That's how acid works. Let's be real, there's no other reason to listen to house music in the desert. In fact, there's no other reason to listen to house music now that I said that out loud. I don't need to listen to robots fight. On LSD, it makes sense, though. Another fun part about Catholic school that I feel like kind of aided my decisions is in between classes, they had us doing stuff like playing basketball and volleyball, which that tracks, right? In between doing that, they had us showering next to women in the locker room, sleeping next to women in the dorm. So for a bunch of people that were trying to convince me this act would send me to hell, you did a real fine job of creating heaven on earth for a 13-year-old dyke. I love this place. If you guys let me handle your marketing, I could probably get a few more heads in here, honestly. Another part about Catholic school, not all of them, but unfortunately the one that I went to with my personality, they are really big fans of this outdated concept called corporal punishment. You guys know what that is? That was probably around in public school, like back in the day, right? For the few of you that don't know what corporal punishment is when the teachers in Catholic school are allowed to hit your kids the way that the teachers in public school wish that they were allowed to hit your kids. And one time, this notoriously mean nun, Sister Bridget, she caught me like Googling pictures of women kissing or something. To make sure I wouldn't do that again, she hit me across the knuckles super hard with a ruler. Which also backfired, because like clearly I'm still gay as fuck and now just into BDSM a little bit. Thanks, Sister Bridget. Should I call you Daddy Bridget? Since we're on familiar terms now. I got back on dating apps recently. Yeah, that's the correct response. None. No enthusiasm. That's exactly how I feel about being back on dating apps. But in my like unique demographic, you kind of don't have a choice, right? Like, our population, lesbians are actually only 5% of the population. I don't know if that's common knowledge. So it's literally like a numbers game and not one that works in my favor. Finding a girlfriend in my demographic is a lot like finding a job in 2020. It's either online or by referral, and outside of those options, I don't know. Yeah, so I thought that like moving to San Francisco where I live now, just like based on the numbers, right? There's a lot of gay people there. I thought things would be a little easier. I'm from a really, really small town, small country town. One of those towns that's like so small where like the only other lesbian within like a 5-mile radius is like that first PE teacher we all had at some point. Kind of looks like John Bon Jovi when he got that butch cut. Yeah, Miss Flanagan. Fat shamed us when we ran the mile. Just me? Okay. But yeah, so I thought moving here would be like the land of milk and honey compared to what I'm used to. But instead of the land of milk and honey, I feel like I got on board of what felt like more of a Noah's Ark, consisting of 2 of each kind of bored married couple I don't want to join in a threesome. All I ever match with in San Francisco are polyamorous married couples, which like is frustrating for a number of reasons. Like, I don't have time to go into all of them today, but I do have time to explain a couple of them. 1, there's nothing in my profile that would indicate that I would be into that. 2, you don't even want to fuck your boyfriend, Katie. It's what brought you to this app. Bring me into this. Trying to find myself a girlfriend, not somebody else's boyfriend an anniversary present. In fact, I'm so against this idea that like a threesome involving a man when you're a lesbian is a lot like the idea of an airplane ride involving a loud baby when you're anybody. Just know that nobody wants you here except for the person that brought you, and for everyone else, you've effectively killed the vacation vibes. I actually took a short break from comedy recently. I got a hysterectomy, which I look a little young for that probably. Don't get sad on me. I've actually never wanted kids, so it's really like expediting a process to a thing that like I never wanted. So don't feel bad. They actually only took 1 ovary, so it's more of a half sterectomy, if you will. But I learned a lot actually about the fertility industry. I'm not going to turn this into like a Nanette teaching moment or anything, but I do have a few things that I don't know are common knowledge. Like, did you guys know that it can cost like $20,000 just to gamble on in vitro fertilization? Like, no guarantee of a baby. Think of like basically taking your child's college fund and gambling that on the chance of that child happening, and that's the fertility industry. So I thought that, like, you know, since I didn't want this anyway, and I'm kind of a nice lady, that maybe I could cut a nice couple a deal or something, you know? But apparently I was barred from doing that, and the reason I was barred from doing that is because I made the mistake of answering a question honestly on my paperwork, and that question was, have you ever tried drugs before? Which, justifiable if I did, like, real drugs, right? If I did, like, heroin or something. DQ'd. I get it. Ban me. But, like, I just did acid in college. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of birth defect would that cause? Heroin, I get it. That could really do some damage. With acid, like, what are y'all so afraid of? The baby being cool as fuck? You afraid of him being popular in college? Like, come on. I'm pretty sure I can find a nice couple that will take a gambler's discount on my LSD DNA. What's the worst that could happen? Like, best case scenario, he gets more of his dad's genetics, becomes like a genius doctor or something. Worst case scenario, he joins a jam band in college. Best case scenario, he gets most of dad's genetics, goes to MIT or something. Worst case scenario, he wears Hawaiian shirts to Christmas and thinks Joe Rogan's a genius. At least those are birth defects that nice family can live with. Another fun part about being gone for a little bit is I basically got to lay around and eat edibles for 2 weeks on disability, which was pretty tight. Though I learned a lot about weed, too. It's great that it's legal, so I don't have to rely on things like opiates for pain. But, like, I'm not so sure that pivoting away from, like, medical-grade heroin toward heroin-grade cannabis is, like, the best move we could have made, you know? A couple of people in here have made similar mistakes. We're all friends here. Don't worry. With that said, anybody in here ever made the mistake of trying a dab? You guys know what that is? No?
I love it.
You love it? Your response
I don't
indicates...
think I do it right.
Yeah, you're responding coherently, so no, you're not doing it right. For those of you that like don't know what a dab is like a hyper-concentrated wax form of marijuana. It ranges anywhere from like 55 to fuck 3 days of your life percent THC. You can pick up dab concentrates at medical cannabis dispensaries if you want to rid your body of a pesky symptom called productivity. Being awake. Cleared that shit right up for me. You ever been so high you felt your heart beat in your face? I had to turn down the music to read. Like, that's what a dab is like. I just don't recommend it. I gotta get out of here pretty soon, so I'll end on this one here. A lot of people think that when you come out of the closet, like later in life, it's an indication that things somehow went bad for you, like with the opposite sex or something, which is a really dumb stereotype. Like, number one, I've dated both, and frankly, just based on the statistical data I've gathered, men are fucking easier, honestly. Like, all my straight friends will always complain about their boyfriends, like, oh, he's so neglectful, all he does is play video games, and I'm just like, yeah, try dating 5% of the population and getting dumped for being a fucking Scorpio, dude. I gotta know where I fall on the Myers-Briggs chart just to get a date on Tinder. Yeah, right? Sucks. You have it easy. In fact, things went kind of so easy for me in that department that 2 of the only dudes I ever dated ever actually became professional athletes later in life, believe it or not. I'm not going to tell you what their names are because I'm not like a trash person that like outs people's information, but what I can tell you is one of them played in the World Series and the other one actually played international soccer for a little bit, which is an indication he was actually good at soccer for a little bit. It's already really vulnerable and embarrassing to have to tell a room of strangers you've done something like gross and regrettable like date men, but you know, don't insult me and assume it was somebody from the United States men's team. Jesus Christ, I had standards. In fact, I'm not even so sure I turned out gay because I'm repulsed by men naked. I just have a strong sexual preference for people that win a World Cup once in a while. Thanks a lot. I've been Sarah Kahara. You guys have been cool.
Keep it going for Sarah as she departs the studio. At least Sarah dated professional athletes. I've dated guys that use the word "we" when describing, you know, professional sports. Like, we won the Super Bowl. Like, I didn't know that was a work-from-home job, Tim. So, okay, our next Griffin sentiment. This is my favorite one that I read on Facebook, and that is, Griffin was a man of few words. And most of those words were swear words. Love it. Okay, are you ready for your next comic? Are you liking this so far?
Yeah.
Yeah, good job. All right. Okay, your next comic is also one of my favorites from the Bay Area. He's been at Punchline and Cobb's and Throckmorton. So this is basically like your own little Punchline right here in San Rafael, Studio A, I guess. Anyway, give it up big and loud for Mean Dave.
Go. Hey, how about a round of applause for Sue. Sarah and Sue. And you got two ladies with S names. It's confusing, and that's something that Griffin would do, right? Wouldn't it? Just confuse everybody. My name is Mean Dave, just a nickname short for Meaningful David, for those who don't know me. I am no stranger to this show. Griffin booked me for it a while back, and I remember how tricky it is to feel like you're getting laughs in this room. It's very intimate. We're practically in your lap, and you know, but unlike most comedians, I don't do comedy for the laughs. Sometimes I do it for the thoughtful peace and quiet after my jokes. And it's nice to be in a place where people keep it down, you know. And again, I am very well acquainted with Griffin Daley, and it's great that we have this that we're keeping this going, but also have a chance to honor a dear friend, because I love Griffin. He was one of my favorite people that just came out of some kind of a combination of Charles Dickens and Penthouse magazine. Just the perfect combination, because he's got the English accent and all of that, and just, oh, Dave, can I get a bit set on one of your shows, and I just loved hearing it. I'm part British myself, and I'm gonna say a joke. I'm not gonna say the joke. I'm gonna say the punchline, because one of the things I love about Griffin's jokes is how much I felt they were terrible. And he could deliver them and make me laugh at terrible material. But one of my favorite punchlines, I don't even know the setup, because the setup is just, it's crass. It's all the things that were great about what Griffin could do. But my favorite was the punchline, because I would just say the punchline to myself whenever I would see him. I would just be like, I said, come on, hun. You know I'm dyslexic. That's the punchline. See, he didn't need the setup. That's what I'm pointing out. This guy the whole time, man. I'm like, you don't need the setup, man. Just the I'm dyslexic. All right. But we'll tell one story that was a lot of fun getting to witness. It was at one of my shows. I used to run a show in Livermore at a place called Sanctuary Ultra Lounge. And we would perform. This right here is a packed crowd at Sanctuary Ultra Lounge in a room about as big, but it also had a pool table. And we were in this back room. I think it was before the pool table, but on this one particular night, sometimes we would perform there for like 2 people. One night I even performed there to 2 people, and it was my divorced mom and dad. All right, so that's how intimate the shows were, and the show was longer than their marriage. So, but on this particular night, I was hosting, and Griffin, he rolled through, and he was doing a set in the middle of the show, and we had a 4-person audience. And the 4 people were 2 young dudes in the front who were drunk, and I'm pretty sure on some form of psychedelic. Mainly because I did a joke about psychedelics, and one of them got out of his chair and started bowing to me on the ground. And I'm like, oh, you're frying right now. And he nodded his head, and I thought he was just kidding. And then as the show went on, it became obvious, no, I think they really are on psychedelics and drunk and are just hiding out back here. The other 2 people were at a table in the back, right near the comics, and the thing about them that I noticed is they weren't there for the show. I think they were there to give each other hand jobs. Because it was quiet, no one was noticing, no one was getting any laughs, no one was paying attention to them, and so they were just kind of like, dry humping off in the back to the table. And so Griffin noticed that the front table, one of the guys was being very aggressive, interrupting the comedian's acts. He was wanting to talk and all that stuff. And one of the things that the guy kept doing was like, bones me, dude, bones me, which I guess it would just meant, it was like, just give him a pound, all right? That's what he meant, but his term was bones me. Well, Griffin couldn't wait to get up there to bones him, because he went up there, and the first thing he does is starts talking to them like, you keep interrupting the show, and you did whatever with da-da-da-da-da, and the guy's like, come on, no, I like the show. Show's great. Bones me. And Griffin bonesed him as hard as he could. And they then proceeded to keep bonesing each other into a game of Knuckles, where the kid even got up out of his chair, and they're both just pounding their fists into each other. And one of the headliner in the back was like, "Dave, do you think we should stop this?" I'm like, I don't want to lose our audience. And that's a quarter of it right there. And I just think, I don't want to get anybody. And this is kind of entertaining. And I'm just saying, Griffin held his own against a guy in his 20s who was on psychedelics, because it wasn't like they were angry at each other. We couldn't tell. Griffin was pissed. I knew that. But it was this whole aggressive thing. And then somehow it deflated, and then Griffin tried to talk to the people that were making out in the back, and that didn't work either, which was, I don't know, it was all kinds of funny. But that was just one of those things that I always remember, because I'm like, he was a dude. I wouldn't mess with him if I didn't know him, and I know he was a very tough dude, and I really he makes me think of he had a great sense of humor. He was one of the people that, like, if I told a joke that I knew was terrible, he would be like, "That was really funny. I think there's something there." I'm like, "No, thank you for confirming." But I would like telling twisted jokes. I do. I have, not like I like it. It's just, I have a twisted sense of humor, and so does he. And he appreciated that, and I appreciated his as well. A joke that makes me think about. I don't think he ever heard this joke, but it was inspired by my love of movies. I go to the movies a lot. And, I go see, I've seen Oppenheimer, I've seen Barbie multiple times. I learned things at the movies, like in Barbie. I think our society would be a lot happier without genitals. Kind of got to see the movie to figure that out, or just look at a Barbie. You can figure it out. They look like they're happier. And I go see movies sometimes without even knowing what the movie's about, just because I haven't seen it. And I want to see everything that's out there because I just like them. And sometimes it backfires. I saw a movie recently. It was called Sound of Freedom. And it was, so I thought, based on the title, Sound of Freedom sounds like a patriotic musical, So a tribute to America in song, which it's not. There's no songs at all. It's a 2-hour heavy drama about child trafficking. And I just wish I knew that before I went to the movie, because I wouldn't have brought my niece and nephew with me to the movie. Yeah, it's an awkward 2 hours learning the Blue Book value of my niece and nephew. And they were complaining the whole time. They were just like, "This movie sucks, Uncle Dave. Why did you bring us to this?" And I'm like, "I got you an icy. I got you some popcorn. All right, the movie's long. Let's wait till the end. Maybe it gets better in the end." And they're just complaining the whole time. By the end of the movie, I sold those kids, all right? Because you can't tease me with the value of these ungrateful brats and think I'm not going to get top seller dollar for them. So, and that's a joke. I know he'd probably be like, "I don't know about that joke, Dave." I'm like, "It works. It works. The Griffin test is passed." So, but yes, another thing too. One of the things that I also think you can tell, I've done drugs. Looking at me, it's pretty obvious. I've drank alcohol. What's not obvious is I'm 10 years clean and sober. And thank you. I tell audiences that to prove you can tell people anything and they believe you and start clapping for you. But it is true. It is true. And I thank you for the unconditional support, because it's been a boring 10 years. So, and that's not true. It's not. It is one of the things. Griffin was always supportive of my recovery. Another friend. This is my dearly departed friend Sean Boyles. We also lost him a couple months ago, and so I kind of wearing my shirt in his honor, because he was a good friend of Griffin's as well. And he was a non-drinker, non-smoker, and all that. And Griffin was somebody who kind of saw what I was doing. He then also started to not drink, and it was really cool. It was good to see that, because I'd seen him when he had some drinks in him. He's entitled to. He lived a lot of life, and I don't judge others and all that. But it is sad. It's sad. I'm really sad that he's gone, and I'm glad we have this chance to kind of talk about him and be able to pay homage to all that, because we live in a very judgmental culture right now. A lot of people are very judgmental based on appearances, and I love having friends from different backgrounds and all of that. And but I think we need to stop being judgmental based on appearances and start learning to talk to people and get to know them, learn about them, communicate. Because when you do that, you can find valid reasons to hate every person out there. You just got to do the work, okay? So, and obviously that's a joke, I'm joking around. But I got to say, the thing about it was, this past year, I've lost a good number of friends. And it reminds me, this comedy journey, I've lost a lot of friends throughout the years. And in Griff's case, specifically to cancer. Griffin's added to that list. And about a year ago, there's a famous comedian, Judy Tenuta, who I was friends with, and she passed away from cancer. I became friends with her in 2017, and she had quite a battle with that. And then it reminded me, I've actually lost way more throughout the years. When I started, there was a friend of mine, Corey Gibson. She was a good friend, good comedian. Griffin knew her as well. And in 2014, she was diagnosed with cancer. We did a fundraiser for her and raised some money for her bills. Griffin, I think, was part of that. And then, unfortunately, she passed away in May of 2015. After that, my friend Damien Arredondo, he worked security at the Punchline, and I became friends with him after I started becoming a regular there. And 2017, he was diagnosed with cancer. We did a fundraiser for him, raised a good amount of money at the Punchline, and then unfortunately in December of 2017, he passed. And then last but not least, Kathy McCarthy, who is a drama teacher in Concord. She started a show at a place called Vinny's Bar and Grill, which still goes to this day. Griffin was actually a regular at that show. He performed there quite a bit. And Kathy, she was she started this show to help her drama students learn another tool in their arsenal for performance, doing stand-up. And then it just became another, comedy show that I helped her run. And she was a great person. And she was battling cancer since like 2017. And she was doing pretty good. And then unfortunately, it came back to hit her more in the pandemic. And we did some fundraisers for her, raised some good money for her as well in 2020. And then in 2021, May, she passed away. And so, every time that these things happen, when these things happen, I just think back to those three people. And not a day goes by when I just wish we kept that money. And, you can't take it with you. What are you going to do with it? So you guys have been an awesome audience. Let's give it up for your host, Sue. Right here. Sue Alfieri. All right. There she is. Thank you.
Meaningful Dave to you. Yeah. Okay, here is our not next comedian yet. I'm going to say our next Facebook post. This is from a friend of Griffin. He was a great comic and an even better person. He was a kind man and a good friend, and he will be missed. And he was the kindest, one of the kindest comedians in the biz, really. You can come across some pretty, gnarly people in comedy. I won't say any names. No, I don't really know anyone that was nasty. But Griffin was really a gem, and he will be missed. But your next comedian is here to bring the funny. And she's hilarious. She's from Oakland. Are you guys ready for Erie Diamond? Give it up big and loud. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, okay.
No, never mind. Hi.
Hi.
Yes, Griffin. Let's talk a minute about Griffin. Griffin Daley was. Here's my favorite joke by him. But again, I think just the punchlines are going to make better sense. I'm not going to tell you which one of the children is yours. He told it better because, it was actually his joke. So, but yes, no, he was an awesome person. And he still is. He's around there somewhere. He's somewhere in the air. He's just like Jesus. He's here with us all the time. I don't know. Guys, I'm not a good person. You guys, I'm not. So I'm trying to say nice things, and it just sounds dumb. It just sounds stupid. Hold on a second. I want to take a selfie. Let's just take a quick selfie. Smile. There we go. I love that. The funny thing about it is that I'm actually 53 years old, and I just learned how to take selfies, so I was really excited. I'm not a good person. When I was in college, I was the lead singer in a goth band called, we were called Sad Hand Job, and and we named ourselves after every hand job, and because I don't know, you guys are a little older, right? You've had a few. I'm just guessing if you guys have gotten lucky. I don't know. No, we did. Here's the thing, you guys. If you've ever gotten this hand job, this one. That was, somebody needed to do laundry and they just wanted to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Like, they needed to get over it. I know, that's a weird thing to say. I used to be super slutty. Super slutty, where my sluts at? No, this is not the crowd. You never know, maybe back in the day, huh, girl? I slept around so much, I probably have some kids out there I don't even know about. You know what I mean? I did not always use protection. I don't know. I am an older person. I'm an older person now, and I'm finding weird things happening to me. Like the other day, I was on the couch with my man, and like we're hanging out, and we start making out, right? And like he goes to put his hand down my pants, and I'm like, wait, I'm wet, you know? And he's like, yeah, you're wet, baby, yeah. And I was like, no, like we were laughing a lot. And like not the like hot wet, more like the warm wet. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that happened. I have friends that are single, like, and now I'm on, like, and they're dating and weird stuff's happening. Like, they're like, I have one friend who is like, yeah, you know, my new boyfriend, he really likes to be choked in bed, and it kind of freaks me out, you know? And I was like, well, he wears that CPAP machine. Why don't you just have him put his mask on? And then you can just like step on the hose, right? Just, yeah, you like that? Yeah. I just think it's, because it's, you know, for both of them. And plus her hands will be free. It's so strange. I know, it's strange. I don't know why I've been like obsessed with sex lately, and it's weird, and I don't know if it's like a thing when you get older. Anybody else in their 50s right now? Like, it's a weird, no? Nobody's in there? Because I need help. I need to know what's going on. No, I've been thinking about, you know, just like you start thinking about stuff, like, somebody was talking about the International Space Station the other day. They were talking about that, and I was like, I guess they're going to retire it. I don't know. It looks like a trailer in the sky. I don't understand why they haven't retired it earlier, but I was thinking about it, and I was like, dude, people go up there for like 6 months at a time. Like, what if, like, they have to masturbate? You know what I mean? Like, listen, if you're a chick, it's a lot easier if you're a chick, okay? If you're a woman, like, you can masturbate on the BART, okay? If you've ever seen a woman like this, she's masturbating, guys. That's what's happening on the BART. She just wants to rub one out before work, and or after, whatever, you know, you do you. But a guy, it can get messy, right? And so I was thinking, like, if they're going to be up there in the space station, I'm sure, you know, stuff happens. But then, like, what do they do? Like, they just, and then it's just floating in the sky, just like they're trying to catch it. Like, no, it's just floating, and then like your fellow cosmonaut is just like, boop, boop, a door opens. Yuri, I've been meaning to. No, Yuri! No, not again! Just something like that. That's because Yuri had the radio up really loud, and they were like, "What's going on in there?" I don't know. So this is what I was thinking. I'm 100% sure that they must have made like a space sock, right? Dude, think about it. I want you to think about this. A space sock. Okay, here we go. I'm thinking some kind of harness, probably like a magnet thing, maybe? Like it clicks in, right? So it's sock, but then like clicks in with the magnet. Do your biz, and then, you know, you kind of like unclick it, right? Pinch it off. The only thing is, everyone would know when they would hear it in the dryer, like, dunk, 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 dunk. They'd be like, oh, Yuri again? Like, I don't know. They could be disposable. I'm still working on it. But I will tell you, if I find out they haven't made that, I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna go on Shark Tank, and But I don't know. I guess it's weird, huh? That's weird. I have a friend who's a hoarder, and which is fine, whatever. Hoard. And he called me the other day, and he was like, he goes, somebody broke into my house, and I was like, oh my God, that's terrible. Did they steal anything? And he's like, I don't know. No idea. I was like, well, maybe they helped. You know what I mean? Just, I don't know. He doesn't want to be a hoarder anymore. But I told him, just put a, take me, the sign free. Just leave the door open, see what happens. Just trust me, they'll clear you out, okay? You live in Oakland, it's going to be gone. You know what I mean? It's on a busy street, too, so it'll be like driving by. Hold on. What's up? I could use some used paper bags. Hold on a second. I don't know. I grew up in a poor house, so, if you brought something home in a plastic bag, that was a lunch bag, that was your waste paper basket liner, that was, and you better use it again, too. There's the other side. You can flip it inside out, buddy. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like being poor is like, it's like you're recycling. Like you are the person who's for the planet, because you're going to use that butter tub again. You know what I mean? That's... I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I got pulled over by a bicycle policeman the other day. Has anyone had this strange thing happen? No, it happened. So I was pulling into a parking lot, and I hear this thump, thump, thump on the side of my car. I'm like, what the heck? Somebody's. I rolled down the window and I stuck my head out. I'm like, he's on. Pull over! I was like, what? Why don't you have a car? Did you get a DUI too? Oh, man. I was, and this is what happened. This is what was, I just, all these questions popped into my head, you know what I mean? And so I said, so on your bicycle, you have a gun. Do you have to throw your penis to the other side to balance you out, And, here's the thing, though. Guys, don't listen. Don't mock the policeman, okay? Even if he is on a bicycle, because, if you say something let's say, I don't know, what are you gonna take me to jail by riding me on your handlebars? He'll call a real policeman with an actual car. So don't do that. Let's see, What can I finish this on that won't seem like I'm not a good person? I was in line at a movie theater the other day, and behind me in line were these two little people. And I turned around and I was like, oh my God, guys, we were in line to get the tickets. I said, if you want, why don't you borrow my long raincoat? One of you can get on the other one's shoulders. You only got to pay for one ticket, dude. Right? But listen, I found out that little people don't like good ideas after all, it turns out. It's just kind of weird. I also found out that little people have average sized person anger. Did you know about that? I thought it was proportional, right? But no, it's not. I'm trying not to use gender-specific nouns anymore because I don't want to upset anybody. So I was telling my friend the other day that my favorite sex position is reverse cow person. I like that you know that. Here's what, in case you don't know, you look confused, and let me tell you what it is. That is when, the lady's on top, right? But instead of facing the guy's face, she's turned in the other direction toward the camera. So, this is for you, Griff. I'm Erie Diamond. Thanks very much, guys.
Keep it going for Erie one more time. awesome. You guys have been such a great audience and a really good-looking audience, too. I love coming to Marin, you know. You guys shower and all the things. Put your patchouli on, whatever it takes here. Yes, thank you guys so much for coming. I'm about to bring up your final comedian, and I'm going to provide my final thoughts from Griffin's Facebook page. And this was my favorite one. And Griffin, when he passed, was in his 70s. He was 74. And, you know, he did more with the last 10, 20 years of his life than some people have done in their entire lifetime. And so I will forever remember that he was doing comedy multiple nights a week, in his 70s, late 60s. I mean, that is, more than I can say for my mom in Florida. I don't know what she's playing bunco. She plays bunco, I think. But yeah, Griffin is amazing and an example for us all on how to live your life right? So start today. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so your next comedian performs all over the Bay Area, and he's hosting at a place in Manteca called the Deaf Puppy Comedy Club, which sounds a little sad for me as a dog lover, but I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. Okay, give it up big and loud for AJ DeMello.
Keep it going for Sue and all the comics you guys seen. All right. I know what some of you guys are thinking when I walk up here right now, but no, I am not the dad from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Oh yeah, that is Griffin. He's with us tonight. We'll get to him though. I don't want to get too sad before we get funny. You know, it's like blowing bubbles in your milk before you drink it. You know, it kind of ruins the process. You know. But I don't know. You guys feeling okay? You guys feeling a little good? Yeah. I'm feeling good. I'm on medication. Now I got a bad back, like a really bad back, where I smoke weed, but I still get mad at things like players kneeling for the national anthem. Not because the kneeling, just because how long they can kneel without having muscle spasms. I get a little jealous. I wanted to do something about the back pain though, so I lost 85 pounds past couple of years. Well, I could be lying. You don't know. No, but losing weight, it's made some things better, but it's actually given me more anxiety, doing stand-up. My roommates are comedians. Even my roommates are comedians. They're like, you're not supposed to want to look good doing comedy. And I was like, you're not supposed to be talking to me when I have the sheet hanging in the room. This is my room. That's your room. Yeah, I lost weight. My brother, me and him have always been fat. He's fatter than me, but he's always got off on fat shaming me, but now I can really fat shame him. So now when we go to the beach, because I watch Shark Week, I like to remind him that some sharks swim up to 45 miles per hour. So that way, whenever I see him start to body surf a wave, I yell, Godspeed. Because that's what he's going to need to get back to the beach in time. That joke's for me. Thank you. I don't know, guys. I'm feeling good. Like I said, I smoke weed, but I have a bad habit of smoking too much weed in high pressure, high anxiety situations. I get so high on Thanksgiving that I rubbed the gravy dish like a lamp and wished for a better family. My aunt was like, "What are you doing?" And I was trying to make things right. Oh man. And I think one of the best things comedy's done for me is made me better at introductions, and I was bad at them for a long time. The worst time was when I moved and switched schools in the 5th grade. I was the only kid in the whole school that couldn't speak Spanish. Everybody could speak Spanish except for me. So my brothers thought it'd be a funny gag to teach me how to say "I'm cool" in Spanish. sort of break the ice with the other kids, except they didn't tell me how to say I'm cool. They told me how to say soy maricon. And in case you don't know what soy maricon means, it doesn't mean I'm cool. It means I'm gay. But like, really, really, really gay. Not that there's anything wrong with saying you're gay. This might be something wrong with a 9-year-old thinking they're saying I'm cool when they're really saying I'm gay, you know? Like the month of February was kind of rough that year because at the bottom of every kid's Valentine I wrote, soy maricon, you know? I was all mad, you know? I was giving kids candies. They weren't giving them back, you know? It's a fat kid, you take it personal. You guys horror movie fans at all? You guys dip into that at all? No? Okay, we could skip that joke.
Sure.
Sometimes you just got to get in the mood, you know? You just flick off the lights, turn on Bambi, you know? Like that's... Well, if you haven't watched Bambi with the lights off, I'm telling you, it's like the first horror film in color, you know? Well, they don't tell you that. I'm just here to give facts when I'm not making you laugh. I don't know about you guys. Is this a weed smoking crowd at all? You guys dip into that? I feel like you guys, I feel like this is a crowd that doesn't really want to admit it, but when you get home, you're taking 50 milligrams of gummies. You're doing all that, but I don't know about my weed tolerance, like ever since the pandemic is just kind of through the roof. Like I've been smoking so much weed that I've been eating too fast. Like last night I ate half a pot pie before I could put it in the oven. You know, like, I got problems right now, you know. I'm more of a pizza guy myself, though. I love pizza. Just don't get how like some people will eat it when they take away the cheese, you know? Like just defeats the purpose, you know? To want no cheese on pizza. That's like wanting no glitter on your stripper. But how are they supposed to shine, you know? Does it make any sense? I don't know. I just like pointing out some of the odd things and like bring them to the forefront. Like, you ever notice how most people will cover their mouths to cough, but never cover their ass to fart? Seems kind of rude, you know? I don't know. I notice weird things. Like one thing I finally realized about porn after all these years is kind of a turnoff. You know that phrase that the girls keep using like over and over? It's like, do these girls just not care that the phrase, oh yeah, is copyrighted by the Kool-Aid man? Like, it's disrespectful, you know? Weed helps my anxiety. I got bad anxiety where I have trouble saying no to people, especially women. Like, whenever my girlfriend asks me a tough question, I sort of turn into a magic 8-ball, you know? She's like, do you love me? And I'm like, I can only speculate. Yeah, we're not together anymore. You know? You get a joke out of it. I don't know. Comedy's interesting, man. I'm trying to make sure I don't say the F word in these next couple of jokes. Oh, here we go. Griffin was dyslexic. I'm also dyslexic. But really, really dyslexic. Like, I almost didn't get laid one night at this party. This girl was like, you want to get out of here? And whispers, I got an IUD. And I was like, whoa. I didn't drive here either. This is a predicament, you know? I guess I'm kind of interesting because I'm bald and I do comedy, but my dog's pretty interesting. Like, I complain about being old and having a bad back, but I have a blind dog. She went blind a couple years ago, and I had no buddy over the head and seen her since before. So as soon as he saw her like crash into the wall, he was like, "Hey man, is she blind?" And I was like, "No, she's just a big fan of the Kool-Aid man, you know." He didn't believe me. He's like, "Hey dog, are you blind?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, you know." You tell him a stoner for that joke. sometimes you get like too stoned for your own good. I'm sure some of you have been there. Like one time in particular, he's like, no, yes. Yes. That's why he's holding on to his seat. No, but like one time in particular, I was heavily day drinking, smoked this like hash infused joint, ended up at a Denny's where I was too stoned. Like I remember asking the waitress, "Hey, when's the chef gonna cook the food on the flat grill in front of us?" And she's like, "This isn't that kind of restaurant." And I was like, "What?" I thought this was Denny Hannes. It was not Denny Hannes. It was a Barnes and Noble. You know, I was way off, you know. Oh, man. You know, Griffin's one of the few comics that I've known since I got into stand-up comedy. Me and Dave and Griffin Daley are my two favorite comedians I've ever been around while doing stand-up. Griffin has just always been such a loving guy. He would like give you energy, you know? Like you could be down, and like every time I see Griffin, I can even hear his voice when he would message me about coming to do a show. He'd be like, "Hey, Jay," and I'd be like, "Griffin," you know? Like we'd go back and forth a little bit, you know? Like ping pong with energy. Like that dude would just pick me up all the time. And I would, whenever I had an open spot to have someone feature for me or feature for my shows, I'd always hit Griffin up, because my favorite thing about Griffin is he's an older guy, so not every audience will imagine that he's going to kind of punch them in the dick with a joke. But he was really, really good at like having these kind of jokes that were like swing blades, where he had the personality to just, I don't know. You guys have seen him, I would imagine. He's one of my favorite comedians I've ever seen. The one of the most dearest people I've ever been around in comedy, and I'll truly miss him. That's why I got this shirt made. I'd never done that for anyone I lost in comedy. It's the only person besides like Robin Williams, who's died, that I know has done comedy that actually made me shed tears. And not tears of joy, tears of sadness. I'm dyslexic, but that's not how it works. But, you know, I love Griffin to death. I'm sure you guys loved him too. And how about a hand for all you guys for coming here and supporting Griffin and live comedy. Thank you all for coming. God bless you and Griffin Daley. Thank you guys very much. You guys have a good night.
Keep it going for AJ. Amazing. Thank you guys all for coming tonight. Really, it means a lot. I was just thinking as AJ was talking about Griffin that I feel like when I started doing comedy I started doing comedy with Griffin. I met him 6 years ago. But more recently, when I was doing his show at Yetwa, I felt like he was really, really honing in on his jokes, and like he was coming up with some really good stuff. Like I feel like he was really working hard at it, like all the way up to the end. It's just amazing. He's I hope to be like that one day. And you know, I thank you guys for coming. Let's give it up for all of our comedians here tonight. They all worked hard for you. Yeah, exactly. And also, I'd like to thank Marin TV for having us here in this space. So let's give it up for Marin TV. Yeah. And again, this has been marINSANITY. This is episode 54. It's been almost exactly a year since Griffin's last episode and since the last episode of Marin TV. So we've had a long space, but check back on our on the Marin TV website for updates and next steps with marINSANITY. And I think that's about it. And also look on YouTube. This will be on YouTube, and you can also watch it on TV. So on your local station. So again, thank you and have a wonderful evening. Take care.
I'm buying stuff I never expected. Like this month, I had a choice. I had a choice between a hearing aid or a big box of Viagra. So what do you think I chose? What? My missus, great lady. I love her. She's fantastic. My biggest supporter, because I make her work 2 jobs. Jesus was a nice guy, I know. But I bet you guys, when he was born, right, everyone was like, well, thank God at last. Now we can start counting forwards in time. Driving down here, I was thinking, I should try and be a better person. Then I couldn't think of anyone better than me, so,